All right, what is going on, everyone? And welcome back to the Mets Weekly Podcast as we are live at this very moment on YouTube and on X to recap the Mets versus Mariners series, along with all of the latest news and rumors in New York Mets land. But before we get into that, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel for new episodes of our show that are recorded live following every single regular season series. For those of you watching or listening on playback, you want to join the conversation in the future, make sure to turn on those post notifications to know when we go live. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok. For audio listeners, make sure to follow us on all your favorite listening platforms to not miss the audio version of new episodes that go up at 9 a.m. the following day of live recording. Also, make sure to give us a 5-star review. It would be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's get into episode number 213 of our show. And Andrew, it's the two of us today. We're going to talk about at least leaving on a high note in Seattle, a team that is definitely in a different level than this Mets team at this current moment, although they really are not an insane amount of games over 500 and haven't played particularly well. They do have talent. We know how great their pitching staff is. We do know how great their lineup can be, especially on the power side, which has been phenomenal recently. And we definitely got to see it on full display. They at least don't get swept after sweeping a series. That's great. However, as you transform into the Knicks hat, which is well warranted as of right now, given to how we're feeling, but there's still a lot of things right now on this field that are very, very uninspiring, and we're going to get into one player about that uninspiring play. But like we've already said plenty of times, the rate of them treading water the way that they have into evaluating to the trade deadline or whatever, waiting for these players to come back, it's going to add up, and it's going to get to a point where they're going to dig themselves into a hole that they can't dig themselves out of. Right now, it's not as extreme. But as these games continue to move by, as the weeks continue to move by, there's only so many 2 out of 3s that you can't fail to capitalize on, or a certain a certain 3-game series that you should sweep or you should win. Like, there shouldn't be as much of a struggle as it has been. This team is obviously limited right now, but we're just not really seeing like a display of anyone with the will to step up. In fact, we're seeing the exact opposite, which is what I think is the most concerning about this team as of right now, is no one is looking to step up with these key pieces out. So that's why I think it is concerning at this current moment going into the month of June.
Yeah, I mean, you are definitely seeing this as out of the perspective that this team is good. And I think if you have that mindset, you are correct. The reality is, this team's just not that good. So, and this is what bad teams, I said it last Monday, where, like, bad teams are going to sweep series. Again, like last year was, the Marlins swept the Dodgers, and, like, bad teams occasionally sweep series, and that's what we've been. This team is, again, and Memorial Day is normally one of the first trademarks. The teams see, what are we? And at the Memorial Day, we're 7 under. Guess what? You'll lose 2 out of 3 to the Reds. Yeah. You lose 2 out of 3. Again, you sweep the Marlins, and you're like, yay! And then we go on vacation, go out to the West Coast, and guess what? You lose 2 out of 3. I said on Monday, hey, you're probably losing 2 out of 3. So yeah, they did what I expected, and it seems like we're doing the same show over and over and over again because the same problems keep coming up and over again. That, again, first month of the season, okay, you give it leeway. Second month of the season, all right. Newsflash, boys and girls, it is June 4th. We're in the third month of the season. Our next show will be game 101, I believe, of the season, right? No, 60, 3. There was a point where they already got 62 games gone. So guess what? You got 100 games left, but you're going to think, okay, yes, it's true, you got a bunch of games left, but plus, you're about, now I said like August 4th the trade deadline, August 3rd is the deadline this year, which is, again, great, just stop changing MLB. But again, you got to make a decision in about a month of what the hell you are. And the Mets are going to be one of those teams that, just like we've seen the Tigers, they're another team like, oh, we want to stay competitive. The teams that realize that they're not good earlier usually are the teams at the deadline. We've seen the Marlins the last couple years. They've been June 1st, a rise is at it. They make the trades early because, you know what, they realize it's not our year. When you have a lame duck manager whose contract expires at the end of the season, and a GM now who contract is obviously has plenty of years left, but the seat that he's sitting in is getting hotter and hotter. You can't give out and say, all right, let's give up now, which, okay, you're giving this team more time, but you keep doing that, and you're like, oh, no, we're fine, we're going to be fine. Oh, we're getting some reinforcements we'll talk about later. We're getting some reinforcements back for the next series, which is great. We'll have another one back probably in the next week, and then obviously if you get Lindor back at the end of the month, pull some BS. But we keep saying this. Oh, go on a run. And, they get a sweep here, and then they lose the momentum right away. That's just a trend of a bad team that, I'm sorry, like, we're going to talk about every series like what we want to do. But, like, you're not going to get and especially I've been the most positive of anyone on this show because everyone obviously, been negative, and rightfully so, where it's just like the false hope is done. Like, they're just a bad team, and it's proven every time that this team gives you a glimmer of hope, and it just shoots you right back to reality. And that's just what a bad, inconsistent ball club is. Spare parts or not. And again, they'll get some of them parts back in the next week or two. But again, it's still, you're digging yourself in a hole, and you're not, like we said last show, you're not going up. You're just, let me go a foot, and then fall right back down. Let me get a foot, and then go back, because it's like, oh, we're back down to 7. Now we're back down to 10. Oh, we're back down to 7 under. Now we're back down to 10. It's that constant yo-yo effect that this team is just not that good. So, again, we'll be here. We'll break it all down. But the fact that, like, if you're looking for positives, it's coming with the young players. We'll break you in a second. But, like, right now, it's just a bad team. And anyone who doesn't see it that way is trying to be positive, and shout out to you. But the trend of this team, the first 2 months of the season, is they're just a bad baseball team. And that's all it is. They'll get hot, and then guess what? Right after that hot streak, they'll lose 5 or 6, and they'll put you right back in the same hole we've been all season.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't disagree with you at all. Obviously, there still is games to play, and I think that's the main reason as to why the Mets are looking at this with no white flag as of right now, which I completely understand them wanting to get the Francisco Lindors, the Jorge Polancos, getting those guys back. The thing is that good enough to be seen as a miracle worker to transfer over from losing 2 out of 3 to winning 2 out of 3 in every single series? I have absolutely no idea, to be honest. Was there a little bit of a disadvantage in this series in Seattle? I do agree that there was, because the first 2 games you were facing you put out an opener. You were obviously going up against Seattle, which is one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. We already know that. And I think that that's the main reason as to why it gets frustrating when you're like, okay, yes, this is a valued opponent, a team that likely will be making the playoffs. We know that this Seattle team is good. Eventually they're going to catch fire because they have enough talent to, keep it going. I know we continue with the talent, but it is true that Seattle team will be, especially in that AL West, which is a complete shit show. The main reason as to why I find this frustrating is because mainly when you're talking about the Mets playing a close game and you see them show consistency in probably the only department so far being their bullpen. The way that they've shown consistency over these past, 6, 8, 10 weeks of baseball, the bullpen has been the most consistent out of every single department on this team. And when you continue to see the Mets play bad close games like this, where you know that that's where the bullpen completely shines from, in close games and you still continue to find a way to lose these close games, such as game 1, you got to point out to the common denominator of the offense not being able to come through. And again, they have shown in some of these games that they're able to come through as to why this is so frustrating, because we know that the offense is better than a bottom 5 offense that it has been. A dead last OPS, a bottom 5 in overall slugging, a bottom 5 in on-base percentage. We know that is better. The only problem that, again, I have is right now, you're just trying to mend fences. Like, you're just trying to, like, gather everything around and try to squeeze as much as you can out of everybody. And that's just not going to hold up once you get into these final stretches of the season. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint. The season is not completely over. If you want to talk about it technically, you want to talk about it mathematically. The only problem that you're seeing here is, are you going to have enough time to get back into this when you get these pieces back? Because if you're going to say, well, we're just waiting for these guys to come back and we'll just play baseball for now. Okay, that's fine if you want to do that. But you're, again, like you just said, you have about a month to answer a question. Are you going to be buyers or sellers? Because I don't want to see on July 20th this team saying, I don't know, we're 4 games under 500 and we're 5.5 games out of the wild card. I don't know, man. Make a decision. You have to make a decision quick. If you want to wait to get these players back, fine. But what about the meantime until they come back? Because we still haven't gotten a timeline on Francisco Lindor. We might get something from Jorge Polanco. To be honest, I think it's subtraction by addition having Kodai Senga come back. We have absolutely no idea what's going to happen with Luis Robert. How long is it going to hold up where Jared Young can be your second best hitter? How long can that hold up? How long do we know that can hold up? I have no idea. And I wouldn't be a betting man to say, yeah, it's going to hold up. Because as much as I do like what Jared Young has done, and I think that he's unlocked something, you know, you're also going to get some games of him batting cleanup and probably striking out 3 times, especially against this good pitching. You saw that in Seattle. In the second game of this series, he struck out 3 times. Yep. And we'll get into that full-on rundown. But, Andrew, is there anything else you just want to add at point-blank period with this team? Because, yes, we know that it is early in terms of trade deadline talk and trade deadline identity. But we're getting close enough to where you're like, okay, what exactly are we going to identify this team as? Is this going to be a team that is reliant on these hitters that they need to step up? Is this a team that is just looking like, oh, well, we're going to see what the young players can give us, and we're going to wait and see here? Because that doesn't sit well with me when you have players in their prime, such as Francisco Lindor, such as Juan Soto. Even if you want to add Bo Bichette to that, even though he has not looked like the prime of his career, he looks like he's 50 years old. That doesn't sit well to where you're just trying to hang around here, given the expectation. That's what doesn't sit well with me, of just trying to float around and being like, oh yeah, just that's what we're going to be doing now.
Yeah, and obviously if you watch the show, you've seen that I'm not a Stearns hater, but the thing I've hated about David Stearns is being proactive. In the sense, again, I say it all the time, the minor leagues, he's very proactive with the prospects and stuff like that. And I get it. Again, it's June. The trades, and again, shout out to Rob Manfred for ruining.
It's June.
June, exactly. Shout out to Rob Manfred for ruining kind of the trade deadline completely of early trades, because moving the draft has completely killed early, trade discussions, because everyone is focusing on their MLB draft, because again, that is a major part of team building. So the fact that now you're not getting as many trades or any trades before. After the draft, which shout out to, again, because that would be already out of the way, and it could be full focus. But again, shout out to Rob Manfred for being a great commissioner. It is the fact that you look at who's coming back, and yes, and they are impact bats. Jorge Polanco was brought in here to be a proactive power hitter, 25 homer, good bat. Francisco Alvarez is the idea of a power hitting catcher in today's game. And obviously Francisco
The idea of Francisco Alvarez is so glimmering,
and then,
as we like to say.
And as Lindor, you haven't heard it. At least, you have a timeline for these two guys. They keep saying potentially end of June. Sure, I mean, again, that's the idea. But again, until he's on rehab, and how aggressive are you with his rehab? Is he going? Does he pull? He did in spring training, saying, screw it, I'm just gonna go right into major league spring training games. Is he going straight to AAA and get a couple games to get back in here? But then do you also rush him in the sense that if you don't get him back here, but then you play the game again, is this team worth it? And competitive, again, Mets fans can't relate to this, is constant success. And knowing, okay, is this a team that's worth building? Is it a team worth going all in on? Or is this just a team it's just a group of guys that maybe wins games, maybe not? Like you said, of course, perfect timing. I'll call you back in a second. Perfect. Of course, it's like this team right now, with the injuries, has killed it. But even when the only time this team has looked competent is literally the first game of the season when everyone was healthy and you saw the glimmer of hope. After that, there has not been anything that you can hold to, except maybe three people. Juan Soto, which obviously rightfully so, Carson Bench, and I want to put AJ Ewing in this conversation, but again, that's a kid. That's really
Brett
two
Beatty.
guys. Brett Beatty, exactly.
Because he's inevitable.
There are this isn't, and again, and this is the problem when you have a lame duck manager and a GM on a hot seat, because he won't do. And you would think with Stearns, especially, because this was supposedly Cohen's Wonder Boy. This was the guy he waited all years since ownership. This was Wonder Boy. You also look at the Brewers, maybe he wasn't the special sauce. Shout out to John Harper for tweeting that out. Thought that was funny. But, besides the point, this was his guy. This was his hand-picked, chosen one. And in that article that came out a month ago, when he said he was not firing Mendoza, the big thing that I took out of that article was when they asked Stearns about his relationship with Cohen and then the comfortability. Stearns didn't give it like I was guaranteed to be. Like, obviously he's a contract that he will be here for multiple years, but his slight hesitancy to like, I should have that. But then again, and we talk about this all around sports with our bad teams that we support, is when you're just keeping a manager just to keep the GM, just to say, it's fine to keep him, and then you're not giving him like the guarantee of he's gonna be here. So it's like he's trying to save his job. Well, does he know he's back? Because if he knows he's back and he has the comfortability he's gonna be back, maybe this is a different way to look at it.
He said that publicly, yeah.
Exactly.
He said that publicly. He's like, I'm not, he committed to absolutely nothing. But he said that Carlos Mendoza is the manager. Like, I don't know where that goes from, and we'll get into a little bit more of Carlos Mendoza, but I just feel like we're being so certain of an uncertainty here, and that's the main reason as to why it gets so wrapped up into a point where I don't know what direction they're trying to go in from top to bottom. And that's what scares me about this entire thing. Like, where exactly are we going to try and attack here for this thing to actually either improve or have some consistency? And for some reason, they just can't find a way to get it done. But it doesn't seem like anybody wants to acknowledge it. If they don't want to acknowledge it publicly, that's fine. But I feel like I'm at a point where I just don't know if I can trust them to do enough. And that's what really, really is the main reason as to why it's so unsettling. Either way, we can get into this as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline of what this team is going to look like down the stretch of the season. But as of right now, we do have a series to recap here in Seattle. As the Mets go into Seattle, they lose 2 out of 3. They get the series finale. We will get into the whereabouts of this entire series, the full-on rundown. Games 60, 61, and 62 of 162. Mets versus Mariners. Roll the tape. Back out west for a 3-game set in the beautiful city of Seattle, Austin Warren would open Game 1 of the series. He'd face 4 batters, retiring the first 3 and hitting the 4th to lead off the second, as he'd hand it off to Sean Manaea for the bulk innings, whose only blemish would come in the 3rd. Colt Emerson would open the scoring with a solo home run down the right field line and into the short hedge seats, giving Seattle the lead. The Mets would finally respond in the 5th after Emerson Hancock would retire 12 in a row to start the game. Jared Young would remain hot, blasting a 424-foot shot to the deepest part of the park, his 2nd of the year on back-to-back days, tying the game at 1. Next inning, Marcus Semien would follow suit, launching his 6th home run of the year to the left field score wall, giving the Mets a 2-1 lead. Manaea would pitch through the 6th and end his day with 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts on 63 pitches. Brooks Raley would come in for the 7th and surrender the 4th solo home run of the night off the bat of Josh Naylor to the middle rows in right field, tying the game at 2. Raley would exit for Weaver later on in the inning with 2 out and a runner at first, as Weaver would retire pinch hitter Dominic Canzone to keep the game tied. He'd also come back out for the 8th and toss a 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout. Devin Williams would get the 9th and also toss a 1-2-3 inning as well with 2 strikeouts, sending this game to the Mets' 12th extra inning game of the season. In the road 10th, the Mets offense would fail to score after Gabe Speier would strike out Juan Soto, strike out Mark Vientos, and get A.J. Ewing to pop out to head into the home 10th with A.J. Minter on the mound, who would get the first out by striking out Patrick Wisdom, as the ghost runner Randy Arozarena would swipe 3rd. Next batter, Cole Young would bloop a broken bat RBI single to the opposite field, scoring Arozarena to end it and walk off the Mets in the series opener across 10 innings. 3-2. In the middle contest, Huskar Brazaban would open the game and escape trouble in the first inning, but not so much in the second. Runner on, 1 out, Patrick Wisdom would crush a 2-run homer to the second deck in left field, giving Seattle the early lead. Jonathan would come in after Brazaban had faced 9 hitters and strike out J.P. Crawford on 3 pitches to close the book on Brazaban. An inning and 2/3 pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 0 strikeouts on 33 pitches. However, in the next inning, runner at second, 2 out, Carson Benj would blast his 5th home run of the year to right field, tying the game at 2. Tong would come back out for the 3rd as the bulk arm, and his defense would do him no favors. Marcus Semien would commit a 2-base error on a wild throw to first, and Mark Vientos would misplay a line drive off his glove and into right field shortly after, as Randy Arozarena would come around to score, giving Seattle a 3-2 lead after 3. Next inning, bases loaded, 1 out. Julio Rodriguez would add on with a sacrifice fly to left field, scoring Patrick Wisdom. Fast forward to the home 5th, 2nd and 3rd, 2 out. Johnny Pareda would lift a 3-run homer, clearing the left field score wall and extending the Mariners' lead to 5. Tong would finish the inning and end his day with 3 1/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 unearned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts on 83 pitches. In the road 6th, the game's one-man wrecking crew, Carson Benj would blast his 2nd home run of the night to right center, a solo shot, his 6th of the year, to supply some life for New York. But veteran lefty Cionel Perez would get the 6th and give it right back. Julio Rodriguez would put the Mariners back up by 5 with a solo home run, clearing the visitors' bullpen in left field. Perez would pitch the 7th as well and toss a scoreless frame with 2 strikeouts, and A.J. Minter would come in for the 8th, pitching on back-to-back days for the first time since returning from the injured list, and he would work around a couple base runners with a strikeout and a help from a caught stealing at 3rd off the arm of Luis Torrens for a scoreless inning. But the Mets would drop the first 2 of this 3-game set, 8-3. And in the series finale, the Mets would strike first with some help from Seattle's defense. First and second, 1 out, Jared Young would ground one to Josh Naylor at first base, who would throw wide of second and into left field. Bo Bichette would come around to score, giving New York the early lead. Freddie Peralta would make the start and give the run right back in the home first. First batter, J.P. Crawford would launch a solo shot to right center field, tying the game at 1. Still tied after 3, fast forward to the 4th. Bases loaded, 1 out. Bo Bichette would plate a pair with an RBI single up the middle, scoring Melendez and Terens, giving the Mets a 3-1 lead. Later on in the inning, first and third, 2 out. Juan Soto would attempt to steal second base as catcher Johnny Pareto would try to throw him out, but Carson Benj would come around to score to complete the double steal of second and home, 4-1 Mets. As Jared Young, still at the plate, would ground one sharply off the first base bag and into right field on misdirection past Josh Naylor, as Soto would come all the way around to score on an RBI double for Jared Young, putting up a 4 spot in the fourth for New York. Next inning, runner on, 1 out, MJ Melendez would pull an RBI double down the right field line. AJ Ewing would come around to score as Melendez would get to third, giving the Mets a 5-run lead. Peralta would pitch through the sixth and end his day with 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts on 101 pitches. Brooks Raley would pitch the seventh and work around a 1-out walk with a strikeout for a scoreless inning. The Mets would get another run in the eighth, runner at third, 1 out. Bo Bichette would drive in Luis Terens on a sacrifice fly to left field, his 3rd RBI of the day, as part of a 4-hit game for Bichette. Luke Weaver would pitch the home eighth and toss a 1-2-3 inning with 2 strikeouts on 10 pitches, and 29-year-old right-hander Joey Gerber would make his 2nd MLB appearance in the ninth. He'd toss a 1-2-3 inning on 10 pitches to end it and avoid the sweep in Seattle, 7-1. The Mets are now 27-35 on the year, set to continue their 6-game road trip out west tomorrow night at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time in San Diego. All right, so there it is, the rundown of those 3 games, and I kind of want to just go in order. The first 2 games, they go with the opener. It starts off with, in the first game, Austin Warren, who faces the 4 batters. He hits the 4th. They bring in Sean Manaea, and I was not expecting Sean Manaea to do as well as he did, and I think he was encouraging to a point where at least he can give you something in bulk or something to where he's actually stretched out and actually could maybe post something, because again, we know that the Mets media has been talking about how he's been pitching better and he's looked better, but we obviously had to see it. It seems like the velocity has stemmed up just a little bit. That's encouraging, at least. Still more of the 2-pitch guy as of right now, which is a little scary if you're going to be going like that as a starting pitcher. The problem right now that we are facing here is the fact that I don't know if this Sean Manaea outing would be because, he's starting to get back into that groove, or the fact that, from what I've heard and what I've learned, Seattle is one of the worst hitting teams in all of baseball against left-handed pitching. So we've already seen them get creative. There's a reason why Rob Ruffsnyder is on their bench, or there's guys on that team that are there to hit lefties because of how starved they've been against left-handed pitching. Yeah. Either way, it was encouraging from Sean Manaea. I will say that. Very weird game. You had to respond with solo homers. The offense needed to be a lot better in that game. The second game, however, this one I feel like had a little bit more of an uncharacteristic feel to it. Not because of the errors or screw-ups, which again we are going to get into, but the fact of opening with Brazoban, which we've seen them do before, where he would face, 3 or 4 batters, and then he would be done after the first inning. For some reason, they would sit here and say, well, we don't want Tong facing, that high in the order to start off his outing. Interesting. So they keep Brazoban out there to face a total of 9 hitters, meaning that Jonah Tong had to face the top of the order anyway, and also start off from the stretch. So if putting Brazoban out there and having him go an extended period of time in comparison to what he's usually been doing to comfort in and ease in a guy like Jonah Tong, which again, I do agree they should have been doing this at the beginning, but they were so desperate last year, like we were talking about, that would make more sense. It does. But you're also negating it in the fact of, you're going to pitch from the stretch again. And he did get out of it in that certain inning.
Yeah.
Striking out J.P. Crawford on 3 pitches, which I think was probably the sharpest he looked all night, unfortunately. And then it also goes to the point of, managing with the pitching. I didn't understand why they continued to go. I understand if you were to trust Brazoban of how good he's been against a guy like Patrick Wisdom, who is, a half a step out of the league.
Yeah. Patrick Wisdom, man.
So, listen, I'm not going to judge the pitching. It's more of just the managing sense of that, of how they're handling it with Jonah Tong. I get he didn't pitch well, and I was staying calm in terms of his debut this year, where people were saying, oh, he didn't give up any runs through, 7 innings or something. He still wasn't pitching that great. He was still walking the ballpark. He still was falling behind in counts. He wasn't attacking batters well. I think the pitch utilization's been better. I think he's incorporated the cutter a lot better, but there's still a lot of things that he needs to learn. And I think we all can agree, Andrew, he's not ready for the big leagues. Can we stop saying that he is? The kid is 22 years old. He was obviously rushed to the big leagues. He should have a lot more AAA innings. I get he has struggled in AAA, but it's really, really obvious that he's just not ready for major league innings yet.
Yeah, and, it's the two pitchers, like I said, the cutter, there was a few good ones. This outing looks like he had his sharpest cutter, which is, again, he of course gets blown up. The cutter looked the best in this last start, or last appearance, I guess, didn't not a start, like we said. But, again, right now he only has 2 pitches. And if you're trying to be a starter in today's day, you're not Jacob deGrom, where you have a hunter with one of the nastiest sliders, and that's all you really could use, and all you really need. Obviously, you've got more in the vault, at least in Jake's case. He doesn't have that. And it's a fastball and a changeup. It's not like he has, again, it's a slider or it's a curveball. It's a changeup and a fastball, which, again, and it's not 100. I mean, yes, he has that unique arm angle, and, everyone, the induced vertical break is great and all that, like when he was touted as a prospect. But like I said, again, he gets rushed up here because they had no other option, because you paid $17 million to Frankie Montas instead of getting an actual good starting pitcher that could potentially give you innings. You had to use it because he burnt everybody last year. He should not have been called up last year, but guess what? He gets rushed up to the big leagues, he makes a few starts, he gets bombed in Cincinnati, whatever. This year, like you said, he needs to be in the minor leagues because he's trying to develop other pitches. That's what the minor leagues are for. Not to be starting now. Especially, why the hell is Tobias Myers back in the minor leagues being stretched out when he should have just been a starter the whole damn time, because that was a part of why you brought in Tobias Myers as an extra starter. But no, now we have to send him back down to the minor leagues because we made him a 1-inning reliever for most of the season. Oh, let's go make the former starter back to stretched out as a starter. It's almost like he should have just started in the minor leagues because he had the option and kept him as a damn starter, because you always need starting pitching. Another great decision by our guy from Milwaukee. Great. Besides the point, with Jonah, again, I can't kill him because, like you said, he's a child. But yeah, has it been good? No. Again, I keep saying, would I have traded him in the offseason? Maybe. Again, not just for the guy in San Diego, but there were guys that you could have went out and traded him for. But besides the point, if you're going to keep him like they did not trade him, then you need to let him develop. And maybe this could be a benefit, again, after the trade deadline, if this team's going nowhere, to maybe let him develop in the major leagues when games don't matter. But right now, we're still playing under the assumption that games matter. Then why is he here? That's the problem. When he needs to develop that third pitch, because he doesn't have a third pitch. Let him pitch in Pawtucket and Worcester and all them other spots in AAA where the games don't mean anything, for him to be able to work. And next time we see him, again, in a functioning organization, he's down in AAA all year, developing a cutter, maybe a slider. Let him focus on it, and let him just say, hey, we don't care what the results are in these games. Work on a slider, work on a curveball, work on this cutter. Just throw that. We don't care if you give up 95 runs. You need to be able to get these pitches over in games. And again, that's what AAA and the minor leagues are for. Not bring him up here. Again, just being a 2-pitch guy, and that's a reliever's workload, or a reliever's repertoire, and you're making him have to go multiple innings. And he has to be in a starter's role. Yes, there was openers. So, again, at least the one time, which like when the Mets have done this piggyback opener crap is, oh, let's start with a lefty and then bring in a lefty. And like it's a different look from Braziban to, but it's not even a different look because Braziban's fastball changeup. Again, I just thought about that. Why are you opening with when you going to Jonah Tong? Because Braziban, we know it's a big changeup, fastball changeup. That's Braziban's best. Yes, he has other pitches, but one of his best pitches is his changeup. Sinker again, but same, you know what I mean. It's not a guy's a massive slider curveball. Sure. Like it's similar enough look. Where it's like, yes, the sinker's moving more than Jonah's straight fastball. But again, it's almost like when they did last year going from David Peterson to Sean Manaea. Oh, you're going from one soft side to another. It's what you have to do, because again, we'll talk about it, probably, I'm guessing he'll be in the rapid fire stories. It's better than the guy that's getting, our favorite ghost boy out in Syracuse. And that's just how bad it is for him that we'd rather bring the 22-year-old up to pitch at Major League innings than that guy. But again, it's what the cards you're dealt right now with decision you made, and in other cases that you have to give this kid an opportunity because you have no other option because you've burnt them. And again, I don't like it, but again, I'm not running the team. I'm not the general manager. That's not what we're here for. It's not what we would have done, but again, we're just two idiots, a rhino and a nerd yapping on the internet. But again, you should not have seen him till after the All-Star break because he needs to work on things. And the fact that you're making him, and again, who gives a shit what the fans and the people on the internet, but you're making like, hey. And maybe this is just more general for baseball. Like you're showing MLB, okay, you're not tanking his trade value, but like you're making him look worse than potentially what he could be. And yes, there will be teams obviously that will look at the upside and be like, okay, Brewers or Rays that can still look at him like that and be like, okay, we can still make him valuable. So again, it's a lose-lose situation because you're trying to compete and you got a guy that's not a major league pitcher on the mound, and then you're also potentially losing big like future stuff where like, okay, you're tanking his trade value because you're putting him in a situation where he's not willing to succeed or not able to succeed.
I really know that there's a lot of question marks, of course, with the rotation of who's going to be pitching the next day, who's going to be available the next day because of continuing the position that they've put the bullpen in. And a little bit of the opposite happened yesterday in that series finale, being Freddie Peralta pushing through 6 innings the way that he did. And I think that is something that I want to get a little bit more used to, of seeing him pitch into the 6th inning. Doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the ace level that everybody thought that he was. And it wasn't, because I did the entire game. I did the watch along. I did the commentary. Not a single 1, 2, 3 inning from Freddie Peralta. He gave up a base runner in every single inning. However, it was more of just the fact that we needed to see him at least stabilize the workload from the bullpen, especially after 2 games where you use just bullpen. Having openers, the way that they stabilize it was good. You get to Raley, you get to Weaver, and you're up by so much that you can use Joey Gerber. Perfect. That's what I want to see from Freddie Peralta. I don't need to see an ace. I don't need to see 7 runs of 10 strikeouts and 1-run ball like an ace does. I don't need to see that. What I need to see is a quality arm. Quality starts that puts the team in a good position either to win or the workload for the bullpen. I'm not trying to say, an ace, a stopper, a guy to stop the bleeding. What I'm saying is, give me a quality arm that we all know that Freddie Peralta is capable of. That's exactly what Freddie Peralta is. Freddie Peralta is not a bona fide ace. Freddie Peralta is not a certified starting pitcher 2 in a playoff rotation. Freddie Peralta is a 2 at best. He's a 3.5 consistent earned run average pitcher. Be that for me. 6 innings of 2-run ball. 6 innings of 3-run ball. Keep us in the game. I'm not saying we're going to say, 5-inning Freddie, and we're going to stay to his nicknames. He can only go 5 innings. Pitch into the 6th, because those extra 1 or 2 outs that can make it 5 2/3 or 5 1/3 goes a long way for your bullpen. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it goes a long way. And it seems like we've gotten to that point of the season where Freddie Peralta can surpass the 100-pitch limit. He can surpass and throw 105 pitches. He could surpass and throw 103. He could maybe go to 108 if he needs be. And he has been going through the 6th inning recently. But we also do get those blow-ups in between, like he had in Miami, his previous start. Couldn't get out of the 5th inning. That's what I want from Freddie Peralta. Aim for the quality start. Aim for the quality start. And obviously that has to go with a lot more throwing strikes, because we also have seen him ride up a lot of full counts. That's been a huge trend with Freddie Peralta this year. But we do know that he's a lot more capable of it. We know that he is. That's what I want to see from Freddie Peralta. I don't need to see a shiny ERA. I don't need to see a shiny stat line. What I need to see from Freddie Peralta, even though it's a contract year, if you want to be an ace, go ahead and be one. But we know that that's not what he's been throughout his career. Be exactly what you have been throughout your entire career. Giving me a solid game-holding start that pitches into the 6th inning. That's all we need. That's all we need from him. And then the rest will come with workload from the bullpen, and it goes a long way. Like we said, the 2 games before he made this start yesterday, bullpen games. So he stopped the bleeding of the workload. It's all about the workload right now when you're in the regular season.
Yeah, and again with Freddie, and again, like he has the great stuff. Like finally gets through 6 again. Like it's not. And like again, like I said, you don't need him to be a stop. You just need him to be. Give me 5 and 2. Again, like I said, like, at this point,
pitch into the 6th.
Yes,
throw a pitch in the 6th.
And you have McClain. Yeah, and you have McClain, which again he's obviously struggled. Again, relative, we've seen it, but at least McClain has he's gone out there and at least gutted you through innings. So you have 2 guys in your rotation where at least you're getting 5, and you expect with both of them to get more. Actually, it should not.
Let me rephrase one more time. Okay, let me rephrase this one more time. Do what Kodai Senga can't do.
Exactly.
Wear it.
Yeah.
Wear it. Wear it into the 6th.
Because like again, we keep giving the credits, and we'll give some more credit. Obviously to the bullpen. Again, another series with the bullpen's not the problem. It's again the offense, and then again. The extra inning thing, again, it's whatever. It's a fucking doink. Walk-offs, again. You have all the other homers, which is fine. Whatever.
Not even an earned run.
So. Not even an earned run, exactly. So, like, Christian Scott, Scott has also been getting pretty good where it's like, okay, you're hopefully to get through 5. Like, again, you have 3 guys there. But if you're doing 2 bullpen games, like, it's even more pressure on those 2 guys to have to get deep. And again, good start from Freddie this time. We'll see if he can build on it. And again, I said it a couple times, like the expectation from this fan base that this guy was a legit ace, he's not. And also, there are only like 7 aces in Major League Baseball. Yeah. There are good pitchers and great pitchers. There's only like 7 aces. So and an ace doesn't equate.
List them off. Go.
Schlittler, right? Skeens, Skubal, the obvious 2.
Yeah.
Christopher Sanchez, as much as I wrong.
He's a horse, man.
Christopher Sanchez. Right now, Jacob Mizorowski, Schlittler,
David Peterson.
David Peterson. Like, that's about it. Like, those are, like, guys that you put in,
You could say Fried if you want to talk about volume.
But he's not an ace to me. He's a 2 who can provide easy innings. I don't look at, like, I'm not scared when Matt...
Workload, yeah.
Like, when I think of an ace, I think I'm terrified to face this dude. Fried is the workhorse that you're going to get 200 innings out of him. It's going to be a low 3s ERA. It's fine.
In a different universe now because he's a lot different, but Jake is still
Jake. But no, now Jake's become more Max Fried, where it's just like he's a workhorse. But again, obviously the injuries are still thick. But like
Jake's still Jake, but
yes, it's a different.
He's not
version
what he used to be,
but again, like that's it. And the fact that fans had this expectation of this dude because he had this best ERA of his career last season. So you think, we're getting this pitcher when most of his career he's been a low 3s guy.
Yeah.
And
I was talking about that. I was talking about that on a little bit on Twitter with Daniel Wexler, one of my favorite follows, by the way. Make sure to go follow him for Mets minor league content. Love to have him on the show.
Oh, Wheeler, and I forgot Wheeler. Wheeler would be in that conversation.
Wheeler as well, who's also had some
injuries, but
recently.
Yeah.
But it's very, very telling that again, to me, I was like, when it talks about, Freddie being filed down as an ace, as somebody, as they expected him to be, in overall prospect capital and the overall return that you sent to Milwaukee. And again, that also included Tobias Myers, a reliever who has plenty of years of control. Mm-hmm. It's very telling when the ask did not include Nolan McLean or Jonah Tong, that he is not an ace. To me, at least. Because as much as I liked Sproat as a prospect, we know that the ceiling of him as a starter is a back-end guy.
You say, the McLean, the Tong McLean...
And this is, again, this is from a Milwaukee team that can grow a pitcher in a tomato garden, right? So they obviously know what they're evaluating here and what they want in return. Coming off of Freddie Peralta's best season, right?
And that's what they do. They sell high on their guys. And yeah, Brandon Sproat hasn't been good. Well, he hasn't been good, but the stuff. Not. The stuff is there. And again, keep him in that lab for a couple. He'll be fine. I think he'll be a fine, probably 3 or 4 starter for the Brewers. That maybe he maybe get a year and they'll flip him. And then Jet Williams is still the midget in AAA with like an OPS barely over 700. So yeah, you didn't really trade anything. Woompa. And I can't wait for when they do eventually flip, and they better flip him if this doesn't turn around, where the return is, we'll see what the return can be. Because we've seen in the past, and this is, again, more big picture, but not just this year, but at the deadline, with pitching obviously is always the number one need, and it looks like Skubal is going to be available, which does hurt us in the sense that if Skubal isn't available, that makes Freddie a little bit more higher, and the teams that would have got for Skubal would go for us, and then we're the backup plan. I do, and I keep saying this until it happens. If you can get Preller on him, and yes, San Diego doesn't have anything, but they still have a couple of things. Like, I still think you can get a better return than what you gave up because of what the trade deadlines become. So again, like I'm not losing my sleep. And again, for right now, we're still playing in the fairy tale world. We're trying to compete. So I'm still, as much as I want, and trust me, we're gonna have some content coming soon. Very soon about deadline, positive and negative, meaning selling or maybe even buying. But for right now, if we're just keeping in mind that this team's trying to compete and we're going to get some guys back and we're going to put magical unicorn farts on this lineup and everyone's going to be great, like he needs to continue just to get in that 6th inning and just be, not a stopper, but just keep us in the game. And for most of the starts he's had his couple blowouts, just like every pitcher, because he's not this stud generational, like he's a 2. And 2s have it. Yeah. George, I PG'd up. You just beat up George Kirby, who's, again, a similar type of pitcher. He's not an ace, but he's a solid 2 or 3 in a rotation. That's kind of the same level field that Freddie Peralta's on. So, just keep us in games, and the offense has got to score more runs. And that's just the problem. Like, they got a St. Louis start. He only gave, 1 run in St. Louis? He went that was 2 runs in the starting in St. Louis. And you got the loss because, Brazaman came in and gave up the 3rd run. They lost 3-2. That on him? Like, again, it's fine. And, again, we'll see what he continues. And this is overall just the pitching. Having to put the pressure on McLean, Freddie. Yeah. And now Christian Scott has to be bigger. Now, especially with the Clay Holmes injury looking absolutely more and more as a massive loss. Sean Manaea pitching well. And, hey, can you get a good month of Sean Manaea? Maybe just for other things, but maybe can he be the savior of the rotation? He pitches well, and maybe you find a stupid idiot at the deadline and maybe takes the last year of that contract on. Who knows? So we all kind of need to positive. Think that 93 mile an hour that he started, and they took him out right as the velocity hit 90. So again, he got him out at the right time velocity-wise. Don't love, Brooks, taking him out. Well, I guess it was the right decision to bring him out. Rayleigh go Naylor, just Rayleigh hang a curveball, and Naylor hit a bomb. But overall, you kind of need Manaea to at least pitch like a league average pitcher. And again, if he can get you 4 to maybe 5, again, can you do it a couple times and maybe get some dumb idiot at the trade deadline maybe to bite for him? Who knows?
Yeah. It was definitely on display as to what their pitching condition is as of right now. Carlos Ortiz saying the Mets are using scotch tape to put this rotation together, thinking it's duct tape. But I mean, yeah, that's a pretty much good explanation of it. And I think that, again, they've kept themselves somewhat grounded. The problem that you're in right now is that you have so many of these guys who you don't know who you're going to commit to in that full-on rotation that are putting so much pressure on that bullpen to be perfect that the workload is such a uneven tug-of-war right now. Yeah. And again, I can't fault anything the bullpen does right now. Like, are we going to blame A.J. Minter for giving up that walk-off bloop duck fart hit into left field in that first game? No. Why? Because the offense couldn't get the runner in from third. Yep. Or from second. They couldn't even move him over.
Strike out, pop out.
Yeah. And what did that come from? That came from Juan Soto. That came from Mark Vientos, who we're going to get into in a second. Don't worry, guys. We're getting into that conversation because it's going to be fun. And then you also had A.J. Ewing, who, again, it's not his job
to hit sixth.
It's not his job to be the answer to Juan Soto failing. It's not his job. Maybe it'll be his job someday, and I think he had a good series. Yeah. Speaking of who had a good series, who had a bad series, the studs and duds of this series. One player that was good, one player that was bad. We pointed out some stuff. We'll probably branch the last dud into the next segment, obviously. But there were some good performances individually in this series, despite them losing it 2 out of 3. Andrew, I'll go to you first. Just two of us here.
Yeah, it's a conversation.
Your stud for this series, what did you think?
I think I keep saying his name because you know what? He just keeps getting better and better. And even though he's a bust and never could be ever seen again, it's Carson Bench. Like, I'm not calling him a superstar because he's not a superstar. No. But he's a baseball player. And how poverty this lineup is, they need just more baseball players. And again, being best buddies with Juan Soto and, building this relationship, the power, which has been early on, you didn't really see. Obviously, homer's the first game, but then, goes in that long drought of hits, another homer. Like, pulling the baseball, again, you've glazed about his contact, hitting pitchers where they're pitched. Great. Love it. There was still a little bit too many ground balls, but again, now he's starting to see elevating and celebrating, which we want to see. And again, the defense
is below league average in ground ball rate now this year. That's how much it's improved.
So, and again, he's not going to be in the rookie of the year conversation because I think there's a certain guy in my part of town that has that shit on lock. But again, we need baseball players, and I was thinking about this at work. When's the last time the Mets had like a first-round pick that's not just a meh player? Like, he could be like, meh is the fucking bar for this team for first-round picks, just being like meh. Like, he can be and again, we're gonna have to have that. We keep saying it. We're gonna have the conversation when Lindor comes back. Bench is not coming out of that leadoff spot. Like,
I don't want him to.
I don't want him. I think Lindor goes into the 2. Bo gets the fuck out of the 2 spot, and or honestly. I'd probably switch. I'd go bench. I know he has left switch hitter. I'd go bench Soto Lindor when he comes back, but he's going to switch hitter. Got to have no lefties back to back. I would literally go bench Soto Lindor when he comes back. But again, we have to get Lindor back first. But obviously Carson Bench hitting multiple homers, stealing home, and I thought he blew out his hamstring. My buddy literally texted me, "Oh, now Bench is hurt," because I wasn't watching at the time. I was at work. And the Bench stealing home, and I just see the back video where he's grabbing his back, and I'm like, oh, there you go, there's pulled hamstring. Right as he gets hot, but obviously he stayed in the game, whatever. Like, the terrifying sight, that man grabbed his hamstring. I'm like, oh, shit. But yeah, Bench just continues to be a really good baseball player, and the Mets need really good baseball player right now. And again, if that is true, Bench is hitting 288 in the leadoff spot from Danny. Like, again, leave him there. Leave him there. Like, there were times when in April we're like, why are you putting this kid leading off, especially when he wasn't producing. Like, now he's kind of found a home here. And again, we'll have that conversation if the shortstop comes back. But right now, like, he is the only bright spot with Juan Soto, those 2 crackheads in the corner that we love. And again, those are the building blocks right now of one's making a ton of money, one's making no money, which again, what we need are these guys on the free contracts to produce. A.J. Ewing is producing in other ways, not great with the bat. He had 3 hits yesterday, but A.J. Ewing, and I don't think you would have said Ewing. I want to that motherfucker can go get the ball in center field. Like, even the series beforehand, like, some of the diving plays he's making in the gap, you're like, that ball's down, and he's like,
and again, he's jogging half the time.
Yeah,
that's how quick this guy is. Yeah,
yeah, and you saw his center field on the other team. That's what he is. He's one of these guys that just gets the balls defensively, and it's like to have one of those guys. for free. You take every day, and again, you hope the bat, again, he should just, in a functioning lineup, he just hits ninth. But we have him hitting cleanup and, batting fifth in this lineup at times. Again, on a good team, he's valuable. Again, being free and giving that defense. And again, stolen bases, we'll see if it comes. But again, just the two crackheads in the outfield as building blocks and continue to show that they could stick in the major leagues. I mean, it's fun. And, all the people crying about the white guys that left. You got crackhead white guys now who are so much more fun to watch than the ones that you let go. So stop crying about it. It's great. We got crazy crackhead whiteheads. We love it.
Yeah. Well, we had cokeheads in the 80s, so
yeah, exactly.
Crackheads now.
We need more crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna mention Ewing, like his, basically is like his counterpart. Is this our new Nimmo Conforto duo?
Oh.
I don't know, a different generation of it, but this it's basically just showing you exactly how these guys can help you win games, and they've been helping you in so many different ways. And I think that we all can start to get used to this being the center field, right field duo of the future for this team. And I think that that's basically how the Mets are looking at it right now. And it's very, very exciting because these guys are, they're extremely young. I mean, some may say and argue, considering that they've been called up early, very early. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how it goes. There's still some things that, again, need to be ironed out. But as Benj continues to learn, I mean, this guy has risen up. The entire his entire metrics look good. I mean, he's 60th to 70th percentile, 60th to 70th percentile right now in pretty much every single batted ball data. Where if you were to talk about expected weighted on base average, and even from the overall splits, I mean, I could rave about Carson Benj of the overall balance of a player that he is. That Brett Beatty is not. I could rave about it. Yeah, he's catching strays. Fuck him. I could rave about it where this guy in secondary stuff. I mean, this guy doesn't miss secondary stuff. He takes what he needs to take to the opposite field. He takes what he needs to take to the pole side. At this current point, he is at levels of like what Juan Soto's doing against breaking balls in overall batted ball metrics. That's what we're looking at right now. He has a whiff rate under 30% against breaking balls this year. That's insane for a rookie. A rookie that looked completely lost for the first month of his career, who's 23 years old. That's nuts.
Well, he's not that young. He's 23. This isn't like,
Yeah, 20. I know, yeah. 23. That's very old. But I also could add, again, Peralta, keeping us in that game. He was also another stud. I could put Sean Manaea in there, too. Manaea was good. Jared Young, remaining hot. Got a little lucky with that little bag clip there and into right field. Past Naylor, who had such a horrible game yesterday at first base. It was a brutal day for him. But either way, like we've already said last episode, he's your best cleanup option right now. Until somebody like Polanco gets back. Or if you consider moving down Bo Bichette, which, again, speaking of the dud category, Bo Bichette was almost in my dud category, but he saved himself yesterday with a 4-hit game. Instead, I'm putting him in neutral because I want to see him build on it because it's been awful.
Yeah.
Dud category. Save the man we're going to talk about, I think. So I'm going to limit that one from you.
I wasn't going there.
I think you're going to a direction I think you're going to go.
Where do you think I'm going?
Well, never mind. Okay, go ahead.
Where do you think I'm going? Because
go ahead.
I'm going to a place that we make a lot of jokes about Helen Keller on this podcast and during the shows.
Oh no.
I think we found the baseball equivalent of the strike zone of Helen Keller. And that being Brett Beatty. What the I get it. The dude spent 15 years in high school. I understand that. Like, we get he's an idiot. But, like, the fact that some of these called third strikes, where he's challenging, and it is literally 3 feet in the strike zone, And he's thinking, it's not a strike. Right. And it's literally on the inner half, 3 inches inside the strike zone. And yes, I will, again, this is strictly offensive because defensively, he continues to make
something. Simeon had a challenge.
Yeah, Simmons was bad too, yes.
About that, yeah.
Yes. And I mean, this is strictly in the offensive zone because the defense, he's still made some really good plays. That they're going back to third base, which again, cool. He's made some great defensive plays, whatever.
All he has to do is play third base, and he's going to hit for you. Don't worry. Don't worry, Andrew.
Like, it is, like, I can't, like, and again, I've stopped defending him for, like, 2 years. Again, have I trolled? Of course. But, like, enough. Like, enough's enough. Like, he's free, which, again, that's why I'm not like you, and
we will continue. We will go.
Like,
we will continue.
Keep him for this year. Once he makes no money, non-tender him, just get him the fuck out of here. Like, again, I'll troll and, hype him up, just like Ibby does. But, like, at this point, and it's not even like you have got, you got to improve somewhere on this. You have to improve in this roster. And the fact that we are, again, keeping the guy you're going to talk about in a second, this dude, Ronnie with no nub hands, and Alvarez, the fact that we just cannot move on, and that's the problem. And again, the proactiveness from David Stearns. Again, you had him as peak value coming into this season after a really good month of September to just get something for him. You couldn't have called the Colorado Rockies and say, give me Seth Halverson, or get, the Chicago White Sox for, a reliever. Couldn't have done that. You bring him in, especially when you went out and gotta play his position. It's enough. Will I stop trolling? Hell no. But at this point, if you're trying to be a legit team, after he's free after this year, and again, he's not going to make actual money in arbitration, but, like, once he's free, enough. Like, enough's enough. Just end it. Because this dude's, the strike zone knowledge, and again, we know he's, like, we made a joke about Cheeto Bear being dumb. Like, this dude might literally have a coconut in his head. Because his eyes are blind as shit. But, again, enough is enough. But will we continue to be, BBL lovers? Of course. But right now, it's enough.
Yeah, well, I wasn't even going to go to branch out to that because he basically just is what he is, and I think that I've just ran it out. And to be honest, I saved my energy to go after him for the watch-along streams at this point because I'm so done with it. And then he also had that ugly AB that ended that 4-run rally they had yesterday as well. Ugly. The other guy I thought you were going to go to was actually Juan Soto, who I did not think had a good series at all.
Yes, but yeah.
I don't think he was good at all in this series, especially one of the nail in the coffin being, obviously him. The double steal was definitely a saving grace in that final game yesterday, but that AB in extra innings in game one. It
was horrific, yeah.
You gotta come. Like, someone's got, and he did that again a week ago before the Melendez exclamation point.
Yeah.
He was leading off with a runner at second. He couldn't get the run in. We need to see it. And listen, I somebody said it, I don't know, I think it may have been Carlos in the chat saying that, we're waiting for that moment. I just want him to come through in those certain situations. Like, I don't need the script right now. When they need a run, they need a run. And to be honest, if you have those types of guys due up at the top of the order, there shouldn't be an excuse for at least not getting one run in the 10th inning, and they just weren't able to do it. So that's one thing. But there also was another one in this series. As for Beatty, because I do kind of want to shit on him a little bit because of, kind of the storybook and closing it. I posted this on Twitter yesterday after the day was done of the 2019 MLB Amateur Draft. The 12th overall pick was Brett Beatty.
I could get your
The 20th overall pick was George Kirby.
Yes.
Beatty versus Kirby yesterday. 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, grounded into a force out. So, listen, Beatty, you really proved them wrong there. They really did. And listen, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt here because they also picked you over Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, he's a bum. The Mets drafted George Kirby. He didn't want to come here. That's not our fault. He didn't want to come here.
Right, exactly. You're telling me smooth talking Brody Van Wagenen couldn't convince him? Yeah, the 13th pick was Carroll. Exactly. 14th, 13th or 14th. I don't know.
No,
Something
he was
like that.
no. Brett was something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, yeah. Coral was.
Well, yeah, we.
Carol was
Coral?
after Coral. Yeah, Coral. The thing in the ocean.
In the ocean.
Carol was like 14th or something like that. So yeah, again, water under the bridge at this point. We don't know what they turn into. But yeah, it's Brett Beatty. He sucks. He just sucks. The only saving grace is he's a plus defender at third base, but he's not a defender at third base that you're like, oh, this is how I regard Nolan Arenado here. No, he's a positive third baseman. Third base defense that you could replace, which is why they should have traded for Matt Chapman those years ago. Anyways. Moving on.
You want that fucking guy?
Speaking of a third baseman that's now a first baseman and a DH, and we don't even know what the hell he is. Let's get into Mark Vientos. Mark Vientos, in the middle game of this series, had a blunder that scored a run after Marcus Semien had a fielding error, a two-base error, with Tong on the mound. An unearned run came on to score. Semien's play was a little bit of an ugly hop, but he definitely had enough time. He knew he screwed up. Mark Vientos, the next play, the ball goes off of his glove, and this isn't the first time that this has happened in the last few weeks, where something's gone off his glove, or he's late to get there because he's not paying attention, and it was put on full display to where that run came in. Here's what I want to say here, okay? I know I make a lot of jokes about Brett Beatty. I will continue to, just like you just said. At least Brett Beatty has an attitude where he knows what he's struggling with. Will he ever improve on it? Probably not, because he's terrible. But he at least knows. With Mark Vientos, I really am not so sure. Not just based off of these interviews, but basically the way that he carries himself in overall decision-making and the value he has to this roster, which is not much if he's not hitting, which he has not been hitting. Let's play two clips. This is after the second game of the series, post-game interview. They asked him about how he has been defensively at first base. Let us know what you hear, guys. This is Mark Vientos after Game 2 of this series in Seattle.
How would you evaluate how you've played defensively this season?
Pretty good. I feel like I've done a pretty good job over there. Been working. Feel like I've been doing pretty good.
Okay. Well, Mark, you have the third worst fielding percentage as a first baseman this year. You have the third worst outs above average as a first baseman. You are tied for the second worst in overall errors at first base. And your overall range value, in field running value, is tied for the third worst among first basemen. But it didn't stop there. Mark Vientos, on his offensive side of the game this season. Let's say what he said. Is he going to say that he's underperformed? Let's find out.
Do you feel like this year is frustrating for what you've been able to do at the plate?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta give myself a little bit of props because last month just a lot of bad luck. But I mean, the inconsistency is not something that I want. I'm pushing for better results, working with the coaches, and trying my best to be the best version of myself right now. I mean, it's not happening, but I'm working for it for sure.
Andrew, what does that sound like to you? Now listen, I'm before you even go into that. I understand the will to be confident as an athlete. But there's an other separate of level where I feel like we're getting into with Mark Vientos, where it's happened often in these post-game conferences, and we're gonna get into the other reactor of it, of course, with the leadership once again. There comes to a certain point of delusion to where enough is enough. And you're like, exactly what do you supply? Are you a great teammate, a guy to be around? Or are you that type of guy? Are you a good clubhouse guy? Are you giving us offense? Are you giving us defense? Are you giving those sort of intangibles to fill into the margins? Well, defensively, he's not. Offensively, he's not. What does Swaggy V say? Who doesn't give an F because he's swaggy? I got to give myself props because I've been through the ringer offensively. I've had a lot of bad luck. Okay, maybe that's true. Maybe that's true in a technical standpoint. Delusion. That's all I hear. That's all I hear is delusion from him.
Yeah, it's overconfidence, which again, I'm not saying I need every player to be humble. Like again, I get it. You need some assholes. Like again, you need some guys that are just here to know I'm better than you. It's okay, but those guys need to perform. This dude is now sitting on 2 years of being booty hole, and you would think with his confidence, this dude is hitting consistently 35 homers. And being one of
I don't know if did Andrew lag out for any of you guys. I'm not sure if he.
We
You good? You
Yeah, I
good?
guess. I
All
don't know.
right, continue.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
continue.
the hell that was. But yeah, like it's been 2 straight years of this dude being a below league average bat. And again, we know we are not giving us anything value on the defensive side. We damn well know you ain't providing any base running because your ass is slower than a fat kid coming out of a Kmart. Like, there is nothing you bring to this locker room that Brett Beatty doesn't do. At least with Brett, again, we talk about, again, this has been the stupid argument, rivalry, whatever you want to call
The
it.
piss versus shit. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
But at least, one, Brett Beatty gives you defensive value. He gives you at least, again, something consistent. You say, okay, above league average defender at third base. Cool. For a team that's crying run prevention, good. Have that. Brett Beatty, every time you see him, yes, he may be stupid, but at least he says the right thing. He's like, I'm trying to get better. I know he's honest, but not arrogant. Where like, hey, I'm getting, I gotta work, I'm getting beat by fastballs. At least there's a humbleness that it's like, if you're ass, okay, I can at least still cheer for you because you're not an asshole. Mark Vientos is just a douchebag. Like, that's what he is. And he still has these stupid frosted, he had the frosted tips right after the, remember? And it became a stupid idea at Mets Fan Fest right after the 2024 season. Oh, he's feeling himself with the frosted tips, and he thinks he's, again, swaggy V, and doing all the peacocking before you've actually proven that you are a Major League Baseball player. And I saw somebody put in the chat, like, he'll get DFA'd, but again, a competent team will just get rid of this type of player. But again, the Mets are so thin, and I'm going to ask you an honest conversation. What is the difference between Eric Wagaman and Mark Vientos? How much worse is Eric Wagaman compared to Mark Vientos? And now you've wasted, it is not just a Mark Vientos problem. It is now a Mets problem, is the fact that how many third basemen and first basemen you need on a roster? You have Beatty, you have Vientos, you have Wagaman, you have Jared Young that can play first base. How many first basemen do you need?
Oh my God.
Jesus. Man, we love it. But the sense of you need, again, and it's not having the balls, and we'll get to the Vientos, the Mendoza quote here in a second, of not having the balls to just say enough. And so, you know what? I'd rather take Eric Wagaman and his wagon where, he's going to sit here, and how much worse can he actually be? And I'm not getting that attitude. And I don't know if Eric Wagaman can play other positions because I don't know who the hell Eric Wagaman is. He homered that first time, and we haven't seen him since. But again, the conversation is he's not this. Like, could he be the next version of Andrew Vaughn on the Brewers? Probably. If he went to a team that can develop, would I be shocked? No. But at this point, losses, and how many times do we keep saying we need to cut the fat? And if I got two piles of fat, and that being Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos, at least I know with Brett Beatty, he's actively trying to get better, and at least he gives me some sort of
I think he just cut out there, but he'll probably, yeah. Yeah. Listen, I already went into it. I already went into it with the overall talk about this locker room and how much it seems like these players do walk over Carlos Mendoza, and it basically just continues to relish in the fact that there is nobody being held accountable. Now, in silver lining to this, I will say, Vientos was benched the next day. He did not play the next game. The thing that I'm saying here is, I can't give the benefit of the doubt that this is Carlos Mendoza being a leader, or them just saying, well, Mark Vientos should not be playing against this tough right-hander in George Kirby. I don't know if that's the message. I don't know if it's, oh, that's not acceptable, he should be benched, or it's the fact that right now we have nobody else, so we're just going to put him out there. But they have no principle in that way. They have none. I don't care what I don't care if Eric Wagman, has one arm. He should be playing over Mark Vientos. I don't care if you're shorthanded and you're sitting here. Oh well, you gotta put out your best players and oh well, we're very shorthanded right now. I don't care. And continues to be the fact that nobody gets held accountable. And that's how I basically feel about that. And he didn't play the next day. He wasn't in the lineup next day. Was that the reason? Because of how bad he was? And I didn't even include him swinging first pitch and grounding into a double play when there was somewhat of a rally happening. We saw that live. We were here live for that on our watch along. I'm done with Mark Vientos. I've been done. Every good game offensively he has, I know he won't build on it. He hasn't been able to build on it. And this constant attitude, this lazy, arrogant, cocky, just constant, LARPing as this fake demon that you are not, is what makes it so easy to say, go away. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to see you out on that field. I don't care if you can pop a home run for me every 10 days. Go away. Did anyone ask Mendoza as to why Slowy V, great nickname by the way, Slowy V didn't play? No, nobody asked him. They just asked Mark Vientos to say something and basically incriminate himself in front of the media like he has already, because there's no leadership in that clubhouse that tells him, oh, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Because last time when, he ran through that stop sign, you guys remember that, where he said he was, oh yeah, I'm running on instinct. I'm Swaggy V, I do whatever I want. When he said that, and they said that Carlos Mendoza, he said in his pregame conference saying, oh, we addressed it. He was in the lineup the next day. Yep. How'd you address it then? How? And it basically just shows you exactly what type of, I don't want to say that, I'll say the word, type of culture you have in that locker room That's the reason why people are going for Carlos Mendoza. Not just the performance of the team. There's a lack of feel. There's a lack of leadership. That's exact example of that. It's gone on long enough to where we're like, okay, Mark Vientos has got to go. I think we all can agree with that. I think he is a bigger candidate than Eric Wagaman or Vidal Brujan to get DFA'd when Jorge Polanco comes back. Do they have the balls to do that? No. We already saw what they did with David Peterson in that game. Remember that game that you went to against Cincinnati where he didn't back up home plate? Ron Darling ripping the entire Mets leadership or coaches. So, what exactly is the leadership? What exactly is the message? I know damn well that his playing time is not going to sink, even though he was benched the next day. Because to be honest, what was the difference? The difference at first base was probably Jared Young, who's actually been hitting well. You can't justify, if you're choosing between the ninth guy in that lineup is either Jared Young or Mark Vientos, you can't justify putting Mark Vientos in that lineup. Even if it does cost you, maybe we got to play Vidal Brujan once or twice. That's how unplayable this guy is when he doesn't hit. And on the offensive side of him saying, I've been unlucky, yes, you have been. You have hit into some hard luck. However, we can't sit here and crutch on that on June 4th. June 4th. That's what we're sitting at. Okay, you think you're unlucky, Mark? Okay, go back out there. That's our mentality. That's exactly the message we are sending. When you have Jared Young who could play. But hey, Mark Vientos should be facing lefties because, he bats with his right hand, and Jared Young shouldn't be. That's the type of lack of feel I can't sit with. As much as I love my numbers, that's the type of lack of feel I can't sit with. Of riding where it's at right now. That's what sucks about it. Andrew, I'd love to give you the mic again, but who knows, you might cut out again at the rate we're going. But
I think Elon's fucking with his Wi-Fi.
I can't think of a situation right now that merits me to say Mark Vientos should be playing right now. Even when he has a good game, is he going to build on it? No. But hey, he's Swaggy V. He's confident he's got it, right? How long are we going to allow this to go?
And again, we've talked about this. Again, this has been the constant the last 2 years of this guy.
I'll say one more thing. Let me just say. If when the trade deadline is over, Mark Vientos is still here, that is the definition of 100%, not 80%, 90%, 70%, 100% malpractice. Not just because of the value, the ability, what he's providing, but that type of attitude that he's got, it stinks. I don't want that around Benj. I don't want that around Ewing. I don't even want that around Brett Beatty, and I don't even give a shit what Brett Beatty does. Because he's almost just as bad. But Brett Beatty will at least, I don't know, try to get better. We've already seen videos of infielders taking drills. The great Swagoo is nowhere to be found because he had a hit the day before. He's not taking reps at all. No, why would he? I'm done. I'm done with him. I'm finished. I'm done with his value. I'm done with his attitude. I don't care if he has a 4-hit game tomorrow. He won't build on it. That's what he has become. Only the Mets can attract players like this, huh? Only the Mets.
Drafted and developed by the franchise. But yeah, like at this
Developed
point,
here.
like again, and it's not even like in like post deadline. If he's here, it's malpractice. If we're post deadline, the first baseman is sitting in Syracuse. If this team goes the way we're doing,
yeah,
like you need to clear him out. And Tony Metro's been making great content as he always does. And he's even said like when fans are calling about Clifford, like you can't call up Clifford because you have 5 first basemen still on the roster. Yeah. You need to get rid of these guys. And right now, he's the easiest one to. Eric Wagon, whatever. You could say easy. Like, you've ran the guy's options out. And I get, yes, that was pre-David Stearns. I understand that. But at this point, there's a difference between sunk cost and just ass. And sometimes just clearing out the ass is needed. And right now, it's needed. And it's not just, again, it could be Brett, it could be Mark, but again, like I said, Brett's at least a good teammate, and Brett's at least trying to get better, and has the positive attitude, where he's like, well, I didn't get a couple hits, so I'm still really good. Look at my Savant page, I hit the ball hard. I'm a good defender when you're literally, bottom 3 in every defensive value position stat that's out there. Like somebody put a graphic on. He's
that's what I read off
ranked
of.
Worst,
Shout out
yeah.
Locked On Mets, by the way.
Yeah, Locked On Mets put it out. It's ridiculous, and it's at this point, and again, it goes to Stearns again to an extent of just rip the Band-Aid off. Stop trying to have to go, thread the needle, and that's again on him. Just cut it. If he goes on and catches on, let him hit with somebody. At this point, it's not going to work here. Get over it and move forward.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. And that goes to leadership of either what you're talking about, Stearns or Mendy. Mendy doesn't give a fuck, as Paul's saying it straight up, saying Mendy is a pushover. Yeah, he's not a leader. We've seen that he's not a leader. Constantly, over and over and over again. And again, I cannot say straight up, in terms of what's going on right now, that them not starting Mark Vientos in that final game of the series was because of his post-game comments or because of his play. I can't. Because they've continued to show no feel of, well, I like this guy against lefties. I like this guy against righties. And it's going to be real telling in these next games you play. You're going to play against all right-handers. If you don't see, again, even if you don't see Vientos play that much against these right-handers, I still don't know if it's called for feel of what's going on and accountability, or it's just, well, we like this matchup because of these numbers. Which, again, I love the numbers too. But there has to be a certain extent to where you, like you said, rip the fucking Band-Aid off. And to be honest, when you look at this entire organization right now, let me ask you right now, Andrew. Look at this entire organization. 26 players out of this organization right now. The entirety from top to bottom. Majors to minors. Is Mark Vientos in that top 26 right now?
No.
Because I can think of a few guys in Syracuse that want it more. I can think of a few guys that will try and give you value. But once again, Swagoo, the big Swagoo, the Swagoo of Vag, he had a great year in 2024. And we all can see that he's used to that because we still see the Grimace cleats. We still see this crap. It's over, dude. It's done. You've done nothing to prove yourself as a major leaguer ever since. 2024, in fact, that entire run is going on 2 years. Delusion. And he's never going to get better. You can clip it. Go ahead and clip it. All the Vientos fan club, go ahead and clip that. If you're going to go ahead and defend him, go ahead. Because he had a great 2024. Awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah. It's 20.
And that's not even me saying, oh, well, Beatty. Because personally, right now, it's frustrating. It's frustrating for me for somebody who speaks out against this whole stuff with Brett Beatty. Speaks out like I'm an activist. As someone who does criticize Beatty a lot, can it be frustrating because it takes away a lot of that for me? To where we see how much of Brett Beatty is a problem, but Brett Beatty can give you value in some way. You can salvage something from Brett Beatty. At least something. What is there to salvage with Mark Vientos? And I'm not even saying this as someone who's not a big Brett Beatty fan. All you had to do was give more value than Brett Beatty. A Brett Beatty that wasn't even playing his position at the beginning of the year, that he gives the most value in, and he still can't do it. Isn't that crazy? He still can't do it. That's sad. It really is. And like I said, if they end up keeping Beatty at the trade deadline, again, I won't be happy, but I'd understand in terms of value, at least in full-on rationale. Even though I can be irrational with Beatty, I get it. I notice it. I'm self-aware. But a guy like Mark Vientos, from all dimensions, if he is still on this team post the trade deadline, that is the definition of 100% malpractice. Who would want Beatty? I don't know. No clue. And Beatty stinks. Beatty's not good. Beatty will never be good. But then it goes to a certain dimension of what exactly is Mark Vientos giving you right now? Nothing. He's just detracting right now. That's all he's doing. And I think we can all agree. And that comes from somebody who is the biggest critic of Brett Beatty. That the situation with Mark Vientos is even worse. He makes Brett Beatty look like a rosterable player. And that says a lot. Because Brett Beatty has sucked since his debut.
He was good on his debut.
The problem that I have with this, of course, is not just because we have so many of these situations of guys who either they underperform, but like, there's nobody to stop that type of behavior. There's nobody to stop that type of mentality. There's no leader. There's no one. There's no one to pull Mark Vientos aside and say, hey, cut the shit. Was that guy JD Martinez? He's with the organization again. So maybe all we just needed was some success from Mark Vientos, and it all got into his head. That was it. The big swagoo will never be tamed. I don't know what else to say about him that has not already been said. Is that you can make an argument, like I already said. And I think I cut you off when I asked you this question because I'm so pent up about this because he drives me nuts. But the top 26 in this organization, does Mark Vientos belong on that list?
No. No. But he gets opportunities that, because he's already on the 40-man. He has a track. Remember 2024? Like, again, we are clamoring and holding on to the past. And a past that, yes, was phenomenal. Again, fun. You still didn't win. And you could say, oh, but Mark Vientos played his best ball. He got hot for 2 months. You know who else got hot for 2 months and never returned to his form? Mike Jacobs. John Buck. There are plenty of these guys.
DJ Stewart.
DJ Stewart. Of especially in September, when the games don't matter for half the league, you can perform. And again, he had a good second half. Again, it's not just September, and he had an unbelievable postseason. But again, so had Tommy Edman had a great postseason. Has Tommy Edman came close to that again? No. It happens all the time. These fugazi, miracle, role player step-ups and fans hold on and say, well, if we get this version again, it's never happening here. It's just enough.
The debate will continue to be, the idea of him being good. The idea of him being good. That's it. That trumps him actually being good, which has basically been the story for the last 2 years. His 18 postseason hits don't matter. Do they matter right now in 2026? Because they're really impacting his stat line right now at a 634 OPS. He's batting .219. So no, they don't matter. It doesn't matter. It means nothing. Because this is a league of adjustments. And I think we can all say right now that the league has adjusted to Mark Vientos. They figured out how to get him out. And Mark is just stuck on 2024. That's about it. Because we can't say he's too young. He's going to be 27. We can't say, he's part of the future on this team. He's out of minor league options. There's nothing else that you can say about Mark Vientos. He's just in that certain situation where it's, here he comes. Here comes the hero ball from Mark Vientos because he thinks so highly of himself. And I'm okay if you think highly of yourself. I'm okay if you're cocky. That's fine. Back it up, though. Don't make yourself look like a complete idiot. That's all he's doing now, is just embarrassing himself. And it doesn't seem like he seems to care. It doesn't seem like anybody around him seems to care either. It's a tell on leadership. We all know it's a tell on leadership. But it's gone on long enough. And they have to make a decision at some point. And that decision has to be with Mark Vientos not being a part of this team. Yep, there we go. I think you're good. But either way, I don't know what else to say about that, except that all Mark Vientos does is embarrass himself on and off the field. And we all know the clock's ticking. They just have to move on. And so do we. Let's get into this upcoming Padres series that starts tomorrow in San Diego, continuing this West Coast swing for the New York Mets. But beforehand, we will get into the rapid-fire stories. Plenty to get into here. Jonah Tong was optioned to AAA for a fresh arm in that bullpen, which was Joey Gerber, who finished the game yesterday. Tong pitched 10 innings as a bulk guy, gave up 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 7 walks, 7 strikeouts in 3 relief appearances. Gerber actually landed on the IL. He made his first appearance against the Dodgers on April 13th. And then it was landed on the IL with a blister. Jorge Polanco has continued his rehab assignment for AAA Syracuse. He continued it as their starting DH. On Tuesday, he went 0 for 4 with a walk. He is expected to be activated off the IL in San Diego later this week, or maybe during the next series. We will see. He's been on the IL since late April due to wrist and Achilles injuries. Francisco Alvarez began his rehab assignment for AAA Syracuse on Tuesday night as well. 2 for 3 with 2 doubles and an RBI. He threw out an attempted base stealer at second base in the 6th inning. He underwent torn meniscus surgery in his right knee on May 14th, and he is definitely 100% ahead of schedule. We will see what the timeline holds. Kodai Senga made his 3rd rehab start for AAA Syracuse yesterday. 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts on 91 pitches. His fastball topped out at 95.7 miles an hour. He hit 2 batters. He threw 2 wild pitches. He's been on the IL since April 28th due to lumbar spine inflammation. And he's basically reminding us with that stat line that we all love and miss him. Zach Thornton made his 9th start of the season for AAA Syracuse on Tuesday. 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts on 90 pitches. He made his major league debut in Washington on May 20th. He is their 13th ranked overall prospect via MLB Pipeline. Outfield prospect Simone Juan has been transferred to the development list. The 20-year-old outfielder has posted just a 500 OPS for low A Port St. Lucie this year. He was a former international signing in 2022 from the Dominican Republic. Speaking of international signings, the Mets have reached a pre-agreement with infielder Frelly Encarnacion to atop their 2029 international signing class, which is expected to be a $2 million signing bonus. A scout said that his combination of contact, swing fluidity, offensive tools, and maturity on the field recalls to the likes of Robinson Cano at his age. AA Binghamton Rumble Ponies have extended their lease with Mirabito Stadium through 2035, and it will be worth up to $6 million in upgrades to their stadium, a new playing field, dugout, press box, renovations, along with a new concession stand and fan experience upgrades, as well as electrical updates, HVAC upgrades, air conditioning upgrades, etc. So that field in Binghamton, which is right near like the Endicott area in New York, will get an upgrade, which definitely does need an upgrade because it is not the best facility. Let's just say that. I have heard some stuff about it. I have never been there, but from what I have heard, it is not the best area, and they have definitely tried to. They're trying to improve it, which is good. Good to see, especially on minor league baseball, of supporting your minor league players who are not in that full-on luxury level of your major league guys. But yeah, either way, Kodai Senga, 3rd rehab start. Andrew, were you pumped?
Who the fuck cares? I mean, honestly, who cares?
Thank you.
It just shows that a team so desperate for starting pitching and starters that maybe you don't see a fast track to get him back to the major league roster. I mean,
I don't want to see him pitch ever again here.
Like he's gonna pitch, and we just don't care.
No. Yeah,
like
he is going to, but I don't want to see him. That's the thing.
It is Jared Eichhoff level of why no. Leave him there. Like, let him go back to Japan. Sell his ass back to Japan. Just get him out of here. If there is a single ounce of interest, which I doubt, because no good functioning organization says, you know what, I want this guy. But the fact that he is still less than league value for a 5th starter. Maybe you can have somebody bite. But if there is, just get him out of here. Like, enough's enough. And again, another non-David Stearns move that he's stuck with. But, like, dude, it is like he is puppy shit strong. And who knows, and how do I not know the next time he goes to cover a base, he blows out his whole knee again. And he's like, oh, I had an ingrown toenail and now I'm out for 6 months. Like, keep him down as long as possible and he'll be up. And then he'll be gone as soon as possible because, he'll get something hurt and no one cares. So, again, we've had enough of this experiment. He's emotional and he's very, calculated pitcher. Well, go calculate your fucking frequent flyer Myers and send your ass back to Japan.
Yeah, no, he's useless. He really is. I mean, I don't know what else we can say. We've already talked enough about Kodai Senga. I mean, just day by day, when he continues to have these rehab starts, it will remind you of how big of a headache he is. Literally, Like, he from all aspects, that's it. I never want to see him bitch for this team again, but he's going to. Because what do we have right now going into the rotation? A bunch of openers and a bunch of, That's basically it. That's Kodai Senga for you. It's, oh, well, he's here. He has a heartbeat, barely sometimes, and sometimes that speeds up when things don't go his way. But he's going to go out there. But either way, Mets versus Padres in San Diego, starting tomorrow. Game 1, Christian Scott will pitch the series opener. He'll face the 31-year-old right-hander Michael King. First pitch is tomorrow night at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time on Pix 11. Game 2, Nolan McLean will get the start, and he will face the former Met, veteran right-hander Griffin Canning. First pitch is Saturday night at 10:10 p.m. Eastern Time on SNY. And the series finale, Sean Manaea will likely pitch in this series finale. Not official. He might have an opener beforehand. We don't know. And he will likely face, this is also not completely official either, 27-year-old right-hander Randy Vasquez. First pitch is Sunday afternoon at 4:10 p.m. Eastern Time on SNY. This San Diego Padres team has definitely cooled off from the hot start that they had in April. They are 7.5 games out of the NL West, which, of course, the Dodgers are indisputably the best team in that division, so it's not surprising. But they have fallen behind recently even to the Diamondbacks, who have had a lot of injuries and they have had a lot of inconsistencies have been completely a mess. San Diego is finishing up tonight as we speak with the Phillies tonight. But either way, this San Diego team this year has been abysmal offensively. Abysmal. They are 30th in team batting average. They are 30th in on-base percentage. They are 30th in OPS. They are 30th in runs scored. They are in the lower part of the middle of the pack in home runs. They actually steal a lot of bases, believe it or not.
Yeah,
And the starting pitching has not been fantastic either. It's been a mess for them too. Fernando Tatis Jr. This is a full-on rundown of how things have been going for their offense. Fernando Tatis Jr., considered one of the stars in the game, maybe at one point. Fernando Tatis Jr., less than a week ago, got his first home run of the year. And you may be asking, hey, he's been injured, right? No. He's played the entire season. He's played 59 games this year. About to play 60 tonight. So yeah, that's basically exactly what is going on right now. Manny Machado has been awful. One of the worst hitters in all of baseball. So their offense right now, as much as it is struggling, we know they have the names, but there have not been many bright spots for this San Diego team.
Well, there's one, and it is that absolute juggernaut of a bullpen. So if you're going to score,
absolutely,
you have to score within the first 4 to 5 innings.
I'm talking about their offense.
I know, yeah, offensively, it's everyone has regressed except Miguel Andujar and who's the other? Gavin Sheets. And Ty France has been good too, but that's a platoon between them. And depending on what pitcher, France and Sheets have been solid. But again, Miguel Andujar is their only other productive baseball player. So that's a problem.
Yep. Jake Cronenworth is hurt, has sucked. Ramon Laureano, hurt, has sucked. Jackson Merrill, what the hell happened to this man? He has sucked. Their best hitter, again, like you just said, a platoon hitter in Ty France, who has a 135 OPS plus. It's been a mess. However, the only thing that hasn't been a mess has been their bullpen, which is a juggernaut. We know it is. Mason Miller, dominant, leading the league in saves, the best reliever in all of baseball. Adrian Morejon hasn't been as great, but still has been good. Brigadley Rodriguez, have you ever heard that name? Oh, yeah, he's been fantastic this year as well. Across 28.2 innings pitched, a 1.57 earned run average. Wendy Peralta has been great. Jason Adam has been great. Even Jeremiah Estrada, who's been a little bit banged up,
Still productive.
he's been pretty good as well. Juggernaut of a bullpen. The rotation, let's just say right now, their two-starter right now is considered Walker Buehler on a good day. That's how bad it has been for them. Griffin Canning has been a mess. Came back from the Achilles injury that he had with the Mets last year. Nick Pivetta is out for an extended period of time. I don't know if he got Tommy John, but I think he got some kind of surgery.
Yeah, he's going to be out for a couple until after the All-Star break.
German Marquez is hurt and has sucked for them. So, offense. Where are you going to be for the first 6 innings of the game? You going to knock the starter out of the game? You're going to have him hang around? What's the deal? What exactly will be the deal? They are a good defensive team, I would say. They are a good defensive team. So maybe you get a few hard hits, Mark Vientos, and they don't go your way. But this is a team you could beat. And this is a team that is in a position that they are in 3 games over 500 because of that bullpen. Because it ain't because of their offense. They're kind of like us right now. Our bullpen's been carrying the most of the weight. But it's been drastically horrible of how bad that team has been. It's so bad that you have Miguel Andujar batting cleanup regularly, basically. That's how bad it has been. Andrew, this Padres team, I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to sell at the deadline because they still are in the race, and we all know Preller is Preller. Mm-hmm. But they have one absolute strength here. The rest of the team has been a shell of themselves. And I think it's indisputably inexcusable that a team like the Mets, trying to contend, trying to compete, shouldn't at least take 2 out of 3. Will that happen? I have absolutely no idea. Because you know why? Because the Mets are in pretty much the same spot as them.
Yeah, like there are no teams the Mets should be favored over. Like, again, on paper, at least statistically, you could say it offensively, and you could say starting pitching wise, sure. Especially when the Mets have great numbers career against Michael King and have hit him very hard in the past. So, you could look at that and say, oh, the Mets have an advantage in this and this and this, but we know what this is. This is 2 bad teams. And again, we'll talk, you talk about Preller. Preller's going to do something stupid. Like, we know Preller. And again, I prefer to have a GM like Preller who knows, you know what? It's all in or nothing. Also, problem with Preller is, and I think this is more the passing of Seidler and his last years of life, that he was so hell-bent to win a World Series, which again, I love, that, and the difference between us and them is they are locked up to that roster with contracts in the decades, where at least with Stearns is poop sandwich, it's a mini, it's a slider where they are stuck and in hell because the only one of those monster contracts they've given out that is relatively movable is Tatis. No one is taking that Musgrove contract on. No one is taking that.
Tatis is not making it an easy task.
And he's not, and even he, that's what I'm saying, and he's not hitting for power. He's still one of the best defensive outfielders out there, so has value. Mm-hmm. And, there could be a team that buys low on him, and again, we'll see. But again, he has him in the same sense, he popped a knee. Or, it was the stuff for his ringworm that, obviously got caught with. But, and again, it's almost like, oh, who was overrated? We know there's a certain guy that was saying that, and he hasn't been the same sense. But Trey Turner, besides the point, there's some lore for the old
the
OGs.
Trey Turner's also overrated, so.
But at least he gets base hits. So, besides the point, like right now, like you could say, oh, the Mets don't have any shred of possibilities. Oh, they should win this. You hope, but again, with that bullpen that San Diego has, if the Mets don't score in the first 3 innings, they're screwed. Because if they get and especially if the Mets get pitching because of 1 run, that's all that bullpen needs. And to get into Estrada and Adams, and that guy in that 9th inning. And we all say yeah for a reason, because you know when...
Yeah!
Knew it was coming, but you hear corn in that 9th inning, you know you're fucked. And that entrance, like, again, we say Diaz had... No. When the Reaper is out in that 9th inning, you do not want to... Hell, you want to face him tied? Would be the best situation. Obviously, you just want to, have a lead in the 9th inning. You don't have to face him.
Have them burn him, yeah.
You hope that, hopefully you're winning. But, like, if you're down in the 9th inning, you know what that juggernaut is. And, hell, even 7, 8, 9, Adam, Estrada, Morihone, Miller, like, it is terrifying. So, yes, you could say, the Mets have the advantage early, but the Mets have...
Miller is so, intimidating to such a point that you can argue that through the 60 games they have played, he's been their best player.
Oh, yeah, it's not even close. Yeah, it's not even close.
It's not just, their best reliever. He's been the best player on that team. A reliever. Yeah. You couldn't even say that, mainly because those teams were good, obviously, and they had obviously amazing players and great stars because they were the Yankees. But you couldn't even say that when a unanimous Hall of Famer such as Mariano Rivera was on that team, that he was the best player on that team, because there was always stars on that team. But you also can say that as well on this Padres team that has so-called stars as well. Tatis, Machado, Bogarts. What the hell happened to you? Jackson Merrill, blossoming star. He's been horrible this year. Out of all of those guys, their best player has been their closer. That's how much of an impact it. Does it say how bad their offense has been? Yes. But when you look at what Mason Miller has done this year, the guy has given up 2 earned runs the whole year.
Season. Yeah. The only guy that has a lower bullpen ER out of the bullpen is Louis Varland. And he's not a closer. Like, he is... And it didn't go like the first month and a half not giving up a run. And
man has struck out 51% of the batters he's faced.
That's better than the generational Diaz season. That's how good he's been.
Almost. I think he was 52.
Was he 52? I thought he was at 50.
But he'll pass it. He will pass it.
Yeah. So, again, you pray to God, and that's
he
been the problem with
him. He has stranded 95% of the base runners
he faces.
That's how dominant he has been.
And that's the problem with the Mets.
So don't get to him.
Well, and that's been the problem with the Mets, is the Mets don't score early, they score late. Well, you're not going to have that advantage this series.
Yeah.
Because, again, you're not touching that bullpen.
Well, we've also seen them score early and then just disappear. For the rest of the day.
So, again, I guess technically that would be score 6 or 7 in the first inning or two, and then, lay an egg, because guess
that's
what?
The funny number.
That's the number. And, again, when you have that, again, and we all know, and if you're a bettor, put the over of Fernando Tatis homers. You know he's hitting 2 in this series. You want to make some easy fucking money. Is Fernando Tatis hitting at least, if it's over 1, bet it easy. If it's over 2.
Hedge it a little bit. But it could happen.
Come on.
It definitely could happen.
And I don't think there's any other offensive killers, like notorious Met killer. Machado will get his, because he's had some great numbers against the Mets in the past.
Yeah.
So, and even with these guys can have horrible seasons, you know how the Mets are, guys. And again, you have Sean Manaea pitching Game 3. Like, if there's not a more over for Machado homer, it's on Sunday. So, just
Machado is also hit. Yeah, I think Machado has a good career against Manaea too. So
they were teammates, but yeah. And of course, Nando's probably got to rob a homer. Probably rob Mark Vientos again, and he could be very swaggy. But so again, it's you have a bad lineup.
Swagoo.
Your lineup's not hitting well.
Yes.
Just cause some chaos again, and you have to win games. You have to cause chaos, and they just haven't caused enough chaos. They're not going to win games because they're not as talented as they should be. So
he doesn't have as big of a career as I thought he would, but he's 8 for 23 in his career with 4 extra base hits. He has an 853 OPS in his career against Manaea, which is a decent amount of sample, I'd say. Machado owes Peterson. Oh, okay.
So don't bring him into the game, Mr. Doge.
Vientos. Anyways, players to look out for this series, and then we'll get out of here. Who are you pointing to, Andrew?
Nolan McLean. Like, we need
That was the guy I was going to say. Yep.
We need a start here. And again, we say that in the last 2 starts against, well, the Nationals have a good offense. They're scoring runs. So
you have a chance for run support, too, with him facing Griffin Canning, who has not been good.
Who has not been good since he blew out his Achilles. Obviously, RIP to, that stretch of Griffin Canning that we will never forget. But you need a start here
Griffin.
from McLean. Like, you need that guy to show back up, and go 6+ would be best, because obviously, you have, who the hell is pitching tomorrow? I totally forgot who the hell is pitching.
Christian Scott.
Scott's pitching tomorrow, which is not a guarantee that he's going to get into the 5th inning. Obviously, he's got his first big league win. He's pitched better, don't get me wrong, but not consistent enough where, again, he's trustable. And he says something about McLean. And then, Manaea is could get blown up early, and then you're winning the bullpen. So McLean kind of has to get that bounce back. Yeah, this is a dog, and get back to that stuff. So
this is the offense to do it against. And somebody said it in the chat earlier. He said, don't make this the get right series for the Padres, which has become a pattern. Like, this for like a struggling pitcher for the Mets offense. They seem to be the get right for a pitcher. Other way around, don't make them the get right, their offense as well. And yeah, I was going to point to Nolan McLean as well, but I also want to see what, you're facing 3 right-handers. You're going to see Jared Young in the lineup. There's a short porch in right field. Let's see if Jared Young can continue on his stretch, because we have absolutely no idea if he will. And then I'm also going to be looking to, once again, just like Seattle, Luis Torrens. Because, again, this is a team that runs a lot. We're going to need Luis Torrens' arm. That's pretty much it. And like I said last time against Seattle with their defense, right? So, and their defense cost them that final game. But either way, last piece of stuff. Let's see. Francisco Alvarez just nabbed a base runner at second. He nabbed down Duke Ellis in his second straight rehab game with a caught stealing. So don't run on the Alv dog, right? Shout out to AAA. I just know. Like, this is the feeling I have been having about Francisco Alvarez since he started off this rehab. And it's already starting, where they're talking about him being such a freak of being able to heal so well. And we're going to get continuous media presence about, he's doing so well in his rehab. And he has been doing well in his rehab. And again, it's going to go back into that cycle of, we're going to fall in love with the idea of him being a great player. And yes, he has not been a good player at the major league level. He really hasn't. In terms of complete or helping them win games, he's been a negative. So, hey, but we're going to get our catcher back, Andrew. Don't worry. We will get our catcher. He is our guy. Right?
Yeah. Homegrown power hitting catcher, right? And then we'll see how long. Let's set the over-under at 2.5 weeks he gets hurt again.
Yeah. Well, you can see that. No update yet on Lindor for anything. Seems like he is progressing, but nothing crazy. Luis Robert, I don't think he's alive. Nothing on Tyrone Taylor, like we already said with Senga. Nothing on Clay Holmes yet. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll see. They should take 2 out of 3, but maybe they won't. But either way, we will be here for it when it does happen. A reminder to tune in tomorrow night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon for watch-along coverage of Mets versus Padres, hosted by the newest members of Mets Weekly, Evan and Matt. 10 minutes before first pitch, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time Saturday, and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, barring any delay needed for live commentary and play-by-play banter, out-of-pocket jokes, and some special guests along the way. It all starts tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. 10 minutes before first pitch. We hope to see you guys there. Andrew, final words. New York Knicks. They just took game 1 on the road. Three away from a feat they haven't reached in 50-plus years. We were all pumped last night. I mean, it feels great. It feels great to see a team just have it, right? Have everything together. Even if you don't cover them, right?
Well, again, at this point, again, we should be talking about them more, but we're talking about the shittier blue and orange team. But yeah, again, game 1 went kind of perfect. Well, not perfect, because it's the same story and same script as game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep.
They couldn't shoot for shit the first 3 quarters, but then when the fourth quarter came, the greatest Nick of all time said, "You know what? I got you," and became. They called Michael Jesus Black Jesus. That's what the NBA players call him at his time. I have decided that I am now calling Jalen Brunson Dog Jesus, because there is not another man there's not a man on this planet that has more dog than Jalen Brunson. And when it comes to the fourth quarter, there is nobody better in this league. I don't care, prime LeBron, prime Adian, it don't matter. It's a 6'0" guard from Villanova that when the lights are brightest and the moment is at its biggest, the shortest dude on the court is the most dangerous. And that is a problem. They went into San Antonio and stole game 1. If they steal game 2 tomorrow night, we are clapping their cheeks, and it is a clean sweep at Madison Square Garden. And it is going to be absolute chaos. In New York, will no longer exist. Maybe in the chaos that we are going to cause in New York. Well, I'm not there. I can't do it. But I wish I was there. Maybe they destroy Citi Field and do us all a favor. Because the chaos is taking the Empire, taking the Statue of Liberty, throw it in Staten Island. Maybe our chaos moves over to Queens and we just destroy Citi Field. And then we have to boycott the Mets the rest of the year. Because again,
listen, they weren't playing well for like the first 3 quarters. They were like floating around, and I was watching with my dad, and I said, just let them tire themselves out, because that's a Spurs team that is young, it's immature, they're going full gas, and once it gets to the fourth quarter, with the depth that the Knicks have and the Spurs don't, it was all going to come down to it, and the Knicks were going to come back, and they were going to win that game. And that's why I felt confident with playing the Spurs over OKC. Either way, Knicks tomorrow. I'll probably be on after that game is done.
It'll just be Matt until the Knicks game's over with, and then we'll be there.
Yeah, it'll be Matt until the Knicks game's over. Either way, make sure to tune in for that. But thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this conversation of our New York Mets. For those of you watching or listening on playback, you want to join the conversation live in the future, make sure to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel. Turn on those post notifications to know when we go live. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok. Follow all of us individually. The links are in the description. And finally, let's go Mets. Let's go Knicks. And we will see you guys next time.